Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of this page from the Johanna Basford planner and also from Flourish and Worlds of Wonder. Now, after turning off the video yesterday, I noticed a few bits that I had missed, so I'm going to just do those. So there was a fish that I'd missed that I noticed. I'm pretty sure we use sapphire for the fishes, so I'm just going to colour this one in. And then there was a bit of the big fish that I'd missed as well that I noticed. And then we can crack on with what we're supposed to be doing today. So down, I hope you can see what I'm doing. As it's just plain colouring, I haven't really zoomed in. I think it's quite easy to follow, hopefully. Okay. Now my next step I thought for today would be this little bit here. We have this sort of seaweed. I'm going to do the, did we use the peacock topaz? No, is that what we used for the flowers? I can't remember. Or was it the galaxy blue? I'm going to use the peacock topaz. I'm pretty sure that isn't the one that I used. No, it's not. So I'm going to use that for these down here. This peacock topaz. And I'm just going to fill it in. Oh, the page wants to move. I'm going to hold it down. So I hope you're all doing well today. It's the same day for me. I just had a coffee, checked my messages and came back. My son is moaning again. It's his Monday morning lesson. Unfortunately, the lecture he has on a Monday morning is the same one that he has on a Friday afternoon, and he doesn't like her very much. He basically said she taught them something wrong. She's teaching them programming called language called Python, which he studied at GCSE, so when he was sort of 14, 15, and he still remembers it fairly well. And she's basically teaching them things that he says are incorrect, and he has he does put his hand up and tell her when she's wrong, because he's used to doing that with his teachers, but she basically ignores him. When they did maths at A level and at GCSE, pretty much at A level really, their maths teacher made mistakes. Maths is quite an easy one to make mistakes in, in the working. And when the maths teacher made mistakes, they would encourage them to put their hand up and point them out, and then they would change them. And so they would do that. And so they got used to doing that with the teacher, pointing out the mistakes, and for the teacher going, oh yeah, sorry, and being very gracious about it and changing it. But this teacher isn't doing that. She's basically arguing that she's right. And he's like, I can prove her wrong, but I don't want to do that. He's just getting a bit frustrated. He doesn't mind them being wrong, as long as they admit it and change it. He's like, okay, he knows people aren't perfect. He's not criticizing her for that reason, but the fact that she won't then admit she's wrong and change what she's doing. It's like apparently in the maths lesson on Friday, she was teaching them that 1 was a prime number, and it isn't. And it wound him up because it's fundamentally wrong. So yeah, but so I'm not sure what to do really. See, I can't do anything because I'm just his parent, and once you start uni, your parents have no influence over anything. But I'm thinking, what do I advise him to do? Do I advise him to write to the head of department and complain, as he's paying £9,000 a year for a course when it should be right? Or do we just let it lie for a little while and think, she might be a new teacher, she might be struggling a little bit, so maybe we should just give her a bit of a chance. Now, I'm a bit worried about this typhoon grey that I picked up. I'm just checking it on some scrap paper because it looks quite brown, but I think it's going to be okay. We're going to do the lighthouse. I'm going to bring it into the middle. Let's come in closer for this. There we go. So yeah, Typhoon Grey. Now I'm not just going to block colour it in like I've done the other things. I'm going to do this one slightly differently. So I'm going to block in some of the bits and then I'm going to do some of the bits a bit lighter. So basically using a lighter touch because I want to highlight some of the areas. Again, like our big fish, which I'm going to be fiddling with a bit more later, I feel that this is one of the main parts of the picture that I think should stand out. So I'm going to just try and put a little bit more effort into this one, if that makes any sense, so that it looks a bit more impressive. Now our light bulb is a bit tricky because obviously I don't want to make it any darker, so I'm going to just leave it for now. And the same, like the area around it, you know, this would be, so what I'm going to do is colour this glass really lightly on the edge and then just fade towards the light bulb as if we're showing that there's it's a bit lighter around there. It would do this sort of stick bit, whatever that is, the support, a bit darker. I could be a bit closer still, couldn't I? There we go. I can't see the top of my screen. I think, yeah, just about. There you go. Now we'll do this sort of fancy bit quite dark. Yeah, my son also says they've now somehow managed to get a week behind, even though because they're going so slowly, and he's finding it so easy. The thing is, I do have to explain to him remind him that some people haven't done it before, so you know they can't have to go slowly for them. I do this bit behind lighter, a bit darker. Now I think on this this piece I'm going to colour all of it in a light amount, and then I'm going to come back and go over the bricks and the strange, these arrows, I thought they were arrows, but now I'm thinking they must be windows. I've been so thick, I thought they were arrows. But I'm going to colour in these bricks a bit darker. Now the window, do we do it dark? I think so. Makes a lot more sense now I know they're windows. Well, I say no, think. We still got a bit of bluish colour on this because it's so light, and I think that's nice. It looks like it might look like we're peering through the water at it, which of course we would be. I can do this one a bit darker. Same down here, a bit light. And that bit. And I'm thinking maybe these bricks would be a tad darker, but I want this space to be dark, like we're peering right into a dark space. And you can see that although it's a bit darker, it's not as dark as the black that we used for the leaves. I'm not leaning on anything today. Probably should be. But never mind. Forgot. Now we've got a sort of steps, I think this is going up to it. Okay. Now, where should we go from here? We've got our bottle. We could do a little bit of work on our bottle. I'm thinking the stones, I might do them in this colour. And we might do all the rocks in this colour, because that lighthouse is sort of stone, so it sort of works and ties up. And then, whoops, let's hold the paper still. got a sort of sandy background, but I'm actually going to do my sand, this sort of bit, in a different colour, so I'm going to leave that. I'm not sure about this urn. I'm going to leave that for now because I haven't really thought it through, and we'll work on all these stones and bits down here now. Some of these look like flowers. Oh, let's just hold the page. Yep. But I think I'm going to colour them all in this same colour. I think it's a little bit easier, and I'm a little bit unsure as to what they actually are. So I think it's okay to do them the same as the rocks. Like this, and just work through. Need to sharpen. Where's my sharp? Right next to me. Where's my sharpener? She says, looking miles away when it's right by her hand. I bet everyone does. Well, I hope everyone does that. It's not just me. Oh, I hope my oldest boy's all right. He's been so poorly. But I was helping him some work. He's doing a presentation on Friday. They don't get long. They had warning on Friday, and it's for next Friday. But they're doing it on. It's a business sort of studies type project, but they're doing it on HS2, which, if for all of you who aren't in the UK probably never heard of it, it's high speed 2. It's a railway network that is supposed to be being built between London and Birmingham, and then further up north, Birmingham being north of London, and then sort of joining north and south really. And it's been a bit of a disaster right from the get-go, in that it was expensive, it went way over budget, it was too slow, they axed various bits of it because it was too expensive and all sorts of things, and now they've axed even more. So it's been, the problem is with government projects is that they never seem to be very well managed, whichever government is in charge. I don't really understand why. The budgets always seem to be a lot higher than first predicted, and I suspect that happens with most businesses anyway, but I don't know anyway. But and a lot of people really don't want it, but because I live in the south, it's not going to affect me. The idea is that it tries to reduce the north-south. There's a sort of north-south split in the UK where the north isn't generally, we're generalising a lot here, the north is generally poorer than the south. Because of London being in the south, the money is, most of the money in the country is in London. And but it's also richer in the south generally than the north. So the idea was to try and reduce that by making it easier for people to move between north and south. And I think I assume the idea was so that people in the north could get better paid jobs in the south and commute. And I assume, I don't really know all the details. But with living in the south, for me, I don't know much about it. It doesn't feel like it would advantage me in any way, but I can quite understand that people who live in the north might like the idea of it. But not knowing anyone who lives north, very north, I don't really know. I've just noticed down here there's some stems from some flowers above that I need to do. So that's the Mythos black, just to fill that in. Now this bit here, is this sea foam? I think it might be. I'm going to grab a lighter grey. I think it'll work. I was a bit worried about using I'm going to grab the platinum because I thought it wouldn't show up, but the metallics have been showing up really well. So I'm going to try the platinum here. And I think it will work on top of the pastel. Now what you could do, if you want something really white and light, you can erase some of the pastel. But my idea is to try and keep that pastel running through the whole thing. So I don't want to do that. It doesn't work with what I had my concept, shall we say. But you could do that and then it would just be a lighter area. But I'm quite happy with that light grey. I'm going to have a look up. Oh, just up here we've got a few rocks. Oh, sorry, that was very blurred, wasn't it? So I'm going to use the Typhoon Grey to just colour those in. Okay, now we have got these dots here in the sand, and in fact we've got the whole sand. I'm wondering, I was going to do the sand in a lighter grey. I've used a platinum. Let's use the quantum grey for our sand. Here he is. I have to move up a bit so you can see out a little. And so we've got this whole expanse here and up here. I don't know how all of that is in shot. Oh, wrong way. I think now that's the top of the sand. No, it's still not on shot. We can move down a bit. There we go. Now I'm just going to grab my quantum grey, put it on its side and just colour. I may need to find that I have to hold the page still in a bit. This doesn't show up a lot, but for me I think I can see there's something there. I'm going to colour over the top of the colours that are there already because it's so fine and quite pale, so I think it'll work, especially over the black here. I'm going to do this bit as well. All of this sort of sandy area in the same colour. It's a bit cheaty, it feels a bit like I'm cheating, just doing it really quickly. I need to lean on here, get up here. And just start up here and make sure that there's enough there to show up. Now of course I need to go around these flowers that I've left the gaps in. Had you filled them all in, you could go over the top of them. It's not making a huge difference to the colour, but it will make this bit reflective because of it being the metallic pencil. There's bits that haven't got it on won't be, which is quite interesting. I'm just turning my head this way and that to see where I've missed. It's a bit tricky how. Yeah, I think I've got it all. It's quite subtle, but I think I'm happy with it being quite subtle. But we need to think about these bits now. I'm thinking that's a bit too pale for the urn, so I'm going to grab, the Vesuvius grey and do the urn. Should we come in a bit closer for you? Put it in the middle. I feel like we're just going back and forth, in and out, lots of different things. Just doing it all one colour to start with, just to see how it stands out. It's quite a light grey. I think that's okay. I think actually that works. It's looking quite pale to me, but the light is catching it. I think as long as it's covered, it'll be okay. Now this sand in this bottle needs to be the colour of the sand that I did over the rest, I think. So the platinum is the colour that I use. So I'm not going to worry about the fact that we have different layers. I'm just going to go over all of it with the same colour like I did in the main picture. Now we need to do this boat, ship, I'm going to grab the quantum grey and do the main body of the boat with that. Stomach's rumbling. And I'm going to do the cork with this as well. There we go. Now these sails, I quite like the idea of them being white. The only way I can make them paler is to either erase them a bit or use a light grey and hope it makes them paler, but it won't really. So I'm going to erase. I don't know if I've got my eraser in. Oh, I have. There we go. So I'm going to use this eraser. This is my Tombow Mono eraser to just take away a bit of that blue. And we're going to do the same with our light bulb over here. Just in the light bulb. So I'm going to have to press fairly hard, just doing it really carefully because I don't want to rip the paper. There we go. So if we come out, you can see how much that little bits of white stand out. Okay, and now we've got to work on the rest. Now we have bubbles coming from our fish. We have this big fish that's a bit plain, and other bits that I want to add in. So we're going to be doing that next. We're not going to be using our pencils anymore. We're going to be swapping to pens. I've got a bit of a choice. I've got my metallic Gelly-Rolls, my glitter pens and white pens. For the bubbles from the fish, I think we're going to do a white pen. I'm going to use a Posca. I think it'll write better on the pastels. This is a PC1MR white Posca pen. You can use any pen. Some white pens are better than others. You may find that on top of the pastel it gets clogged. So you may need to, every so often, I'm going to make the fish shiny. That was a bit thick. I think that looks a little bit too thick. Maybe a thinner pen might have been better. When you do your shine line on your fish, try to run alongside the shape of the fish, which I didn't manage to do there. Like around there. Okay, so although we've used a shiny pen, there's no harm in just drawing a bit of a shine line on as well. Okay, that's all our fish. I shouldn't be moving the book too much. I want to make the flowers look a little prettier, so I'm going to put a few dots along the centre of there. On these I'm just going to go around the centre, and you can see how the white shows up so brightly. Now our lighthouse, I'm going to use the white to do the beams of light, like that. We have these flowers. I quite like to put some white on these, but I think it's not going to quite work, so I'm not going to. I'm going to come in a tad because I'm so far out. The bottle, we need to make the bottle look shiny. We've got some marks on here already that Johanna's drawn on that we can go over with our white. Make sure that you don't go over anything that's overlapping the bottle. It would look a bit strange. And we can put a bit of shine on our urn as well, like that. Now Mr. Fish is going to be a little bit more exciting and extravagant than the rest because I want him to stand out. I think our tower stands out because of the white light. This stands out because of the white sail. So Mr. Fish needs to be, I think, glittery. And there is a blue, dark blue. There's a too dark, I think that's too purpley. I think this is the dark blue glitter pen. This is Sakura Stardust number 738. And I'm going to add some glitter to him on these spiny bits to start with. And then sort of on the lines, that was very odd. A bird just flew by and the reflection was in the plastic of the pen packet that's near me, so I just saw this sort of strange I think I'm just going to go over these thin lines here, a sort of strange thing flying by. I can hear chirping now. We've had a very cute robin in the garden and a wren. My husband said they're having a fight. It's very sad. Robin and wren don't fight. My garden's big enough for two of you. It's quite tricky. I'm going to start at that. I want to make sure I don't overlap the end. So I'm hoping that by highlighting this sort of fins that they stand out a bit more, because being, what's another bird gone by? Being the same sort of colour at the moment, they don't really stand out. It's very noisy birds. It's probably the magpies. Now, around the eye, I'm just going to do that bit, oops, that line. Now I'm thinking the rest of the fish I quite like a bit different. I'm thinking I'm going to use my glitter pen that's got no colour. This is number 700, which is just glitter. And I'm going to use it on this bit around the eye. It's actually more glittery than the coloured glitter pen. I think it's because the colour of the glitter is a bit different. So I'm doing these teardrop shapes. Now it's not really Halloweeny still, this picture, is it? I'm going to go around each of these. But I did have this idea initially, which I've strayed massively away from, that this was going to be some sort of evil fish that was black and scary. But it didn't really come off, did it? It still doesn't feel very Halloweeny, an evil fish. But anyway, it's quite a challenge. I don't really feel like blue and grey and black are very Halloweeny colours either, but anyway. We'll get back to something definitely Halloweeny tomorrow because I know exactly what I'm doing. It's next to me actually. It's, yeah, it's going to be cute, I think. So all of these little scales will have some shine. I don't know how easy it is to see the shine of the gel of the pen at this angle. And all of the little diamond shapes I'm going to colour right in with this. Oh, I've got cramp in my hand. I'm just going to move. Oh, it's odd. I don't know why that suddenly appeared. Right, so I'm going to have a little look now. I'm going to move this to the light so you can see, hopefully see the shine of the fish. There he is. And I think I might be done, but I'm trying to decide whether to do any more white. Yeah, down here, look, we've got these dots. I don't know whether to make them white because it would make it stand out. Yeah, I'll grab a... Go back to our Posca and do, I'm thinking the crab. needs a bit of white. That's what I was thinking, not those dots, because we've actually got them in quite a few places on the sand, and I don't think I want it to stand out, but I might just put a few there and then make that do, or else I'm going to spoil it. So there is our slightly unspooky, not really very Halloweeny fake Halloween page. Oh, fish's eye needs a bit of white. I'm gonna do, we've got a white teardrop shaped bit in there that Johanna's given us. I haven't quite pulled it off, but it's there now anyway. Put a bit of white. There we go. So it's dark, and that's about as Halloweeny as it gets, but it's just a very different way to approach the page, really. So I hope that was sort of a bit different for you, gave you a few different ideas, and hopefully you enjoyed it as well. I did. So thank you for watching. Again, please subscribe, like, comment, all those really lovely things. I really appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for today. So thank you for watching, and happy colouring.